Everybody, good morning. My thought for you that I'm working with this week is in the process of Pratyahara, which is one of the limbs of yoga that describes how we turn our senses inward. And so I'm using it as a way of kind of metaphoring this process that we're going into as we head into the solstice. So Monday, the 21st, is the winter solstice, which means that it is the shortest day of the year. And being the shortest day of the year, that also means it's the longest night, right? So it's the longest period of darkness in the entire year. And of course, the metaphor for this we've been talking about kind of, for the last month or so is that as the outside world becomes dark, we're asked to look for and really discover what the inner source of illumination is, right? Because that's what moves us through the fear or the doubt or the heaviness of existence, right? This is what keeps us in a state that is light and aware and awake. So Pratyahara is when we start to tune out or tune away from the outside world and we tune into the inside world. And it's not so much, I'm going to rephrase that, because it's not so much that we're pushing the outside world away, but that we're actually following the trail back to the source of who we are. Right, that's Pratyahara. So it's as though you could see, if you had one of those time-lapse videos of a plant that goes from a seed and grows all the way out into whatever it becomes. And then if you reverse that, right, it goes from its full growth and it contracts all the way back into where it began. That's what Pratyahara is, right? It's that moving back inward to the source of where did you begin, right? Where do you come from? Because that inner source of illumination never wavers, doesn't go anywhere. Right? But if we don't have a perception of it, then we get caught up in outside. So this is the practice that I'm playing with for me, is going into that concept of dark, going into that concept of what is unseen or unseeable so that you can experience the source of you, right? Because that's what this solstice energy is really about, especially this year where there's a lot of planetary and energetic stuff going on where we are shifting, right, from one place to another. We're shifting vibrationally from one place to another. So discovering your source, who are you as you shift from one place to another? It's the whole practice of yoga. Know who you are as you shift from one place to another. So let the eyes close and start to experience yourself in this moment. To let yourself feel all of the things that are the physical. And tune into the room around you so that you can actually feel temperature. Whatever sounds you can hear. Whatever you can smell. The feel of your clothing, your skin. And most importantly, the perception of light, even though your eyes are closed. And then go below that. The feel of your muscles and your bones. Listening for your heartbeat. Can you feel the rushing of the blood in your veins? Can you feel the denseness, the solidness of the body, but also how fluid? It's never still. The body is always moving. And then can you feel the subtle movement of the breath? So tune into the sensation of the breath at the tip of the nostrils. As it flows all the way down the throat, down into the belly. And follow it the same way up and out. As the breath leaves, goes back to its source. And continue to follow the breath as you're inhaling, noticing it at the tips of the nostrils and bringing it all the way down to the base of you. And as you exhale, following it all the way back out, maybe even with your attention, following it out to several inches in front of you until it disperses into the infinite. And then from that same place, several inches in front of you, draw the breath in and down. And then follow it all the way back out, again, noticing how far in front of you that breath extends before you lose track of it. And feeling the breath originate again in front of you as it flows in and down. And exhale, releasing the breath again to that space a couple inches in front of you. Keep following it with your attention. And a couple more breaths, breathing from that point in front of you. Breath flowing in, expanding. Breath flowing out, back into the infinite. Aware of the outer world and the edges of you, but also aware that the inner world extends as infinitely as the outer. Can you feel yourself as the subtle movement of your breath? The subtle expansion and contraction. This is life, expansion and contraction. This is being, expansion and contraction. One more breath, following it out. On the exhale to the space as far in front of you as you can perceive. And then as that breath disperses, let your attention come back to just you sitting. And bring the hands together in front of the heart center, rub your palms. And then steady the palms at your heart, pressing fingertips together. So again, you have that connection that right and left, up and down, everything is pushing towards that one point. And we'll open with the sound of Om, deep breath in. Hang on to the echoes of the sound. And let the eyes float open and release the hands. Nice, you guys, stay seated. Bring your hands to the front of your knees or your thighs and start to circle your torso, making nice big spirals. It's really fun. On Wednesday, I was doing a similar version to that to begin class and intending for it to be something that let you go in a little bit, but I was teaching from home because of the snow and whatever. So in the background, as everybody's getting nice and quiet and still, you hear my daughter yelling about how she wants graham bunnies, graham crackers. So whatever inserted itself into your brief meditation, don't worry about it. Move yourself the other direction, please. Good. That's why it's important that in any of our practices is we're not trying to push anything away. So Pratyahara, I think, is often misunderstood, that we're supposed to push away any external sensory experience. And that's not the point, to push it away. The point is to feel as deeply inward as you are able to feel outward. Come back to center, please. Good. Walk your right arm out wide from your right hip. Stretch the left arm up over your ear, side body stretch. So you're leaning to your right. Good. Good. Bend that right elbow a little bit more. Walk the hand out a little bit further. So Mark, take your hand further away from your hip so that you can drop into that side body a little bit more. Good. And then press your left butt cheek down to the floor. Nice. And then come back up to center, please. Go the other way, taking the left arm out and down beyond your hip. Take the right arm up over your ear, stretch to your left. Good. Pressing through the outer right hip, right butt cheek down to the floor. Bend that left elbow. So again, you're not pushing the floor away, but you're letting yourself drop into the gravity of the stretch. Beautiful. And then come all the way back up to center, please. Nice job. Roll forward to hands and knees. Good. Do some cat and cow. So knees underneath the hips, hands underneath the shoulders. Inhaling, lengthening the spine, stretching through the front of the belly, and then exhaling, reversing that, pulling up through your armpits and through the top of your hip points. Pull up to round into your back. Good. And then continuing to breathe, inhaling, lengthening and extending, exhaling, curling in, expansion and contraction. When we want one word, we call it pulsation. But that's what it is. Good. And so we often, we look for that feeling of expansion, thinking that if I can just get bigger, then whatever feels like it's too much to bear as I can get away from it, right? We look for meditation, we look for enlightenment as a way to get away from something. And it's subtle. So even if you don't think that that's what you're doing, it's okay when you realize over and over again that that's kind of what you've been doing. Come back to stillness, please. Good. Take your right thigh in front of your left. Cross your right knee in front of your left. Separate your feet. And then walk yourself back until your butt comes to the floor between your heels, or use a block or a blanket underneath your seat. Gomukhasana. If sitting in this position doesn't work knee over knee, then you can bring the right shin in front of the left, sitting cross-legged, flexing the feet. Good. Feet should be flexed no matter what. Nice. And then walk your right hand out wide from your right hip. Take your left arm over the ear, side body stretch. Good. Nice. Try and keep that wrap of the legs. You're drawing that right knee over the left. That's it. And then come back up to center, please. Go the other way. Left arm goes out and down. Take the right arm over the ear. Good. Again, keeping the feet flexed no matter what position you're in. Try and keep both sit bones on the floor. So again, make sure that you have that rooting down of the right side. Good. Come all the way back up to center, please. Either stay here or walk forward, forward fold if that's available. If coming forward works for you, then do that. If not, fingertips right behind you, sitting up nice and tall, chest open wide. Good. So same seat, Ken, just a forward fold. Beautiful. Take one more breath. Inhaling, lifting, lengthening your spine, draw back on your hands, then exhale, curl and round, fold in. So you're still in that forward fold, but round into it. Good. And then walk yourself back up, please. Good. You're going to take both hands to the outside of your left hip. Yep. And you're going to walk around, lift your butt, turn towards the back of your mat. So your legs come to straight as you turn towards the back of your mat. Stay there. Don't do the big turn yet. So walk to your left. Lift your hips so that you come into straight legs, forward fold at the facing the back of your mat. Yep. Walk your torso to the left. You got it. And as you walk, lift your butt, straighten your legs. You're in a forward fold facing the back of your mat, legs as wide as your mat. Just pause there. Good. So if that doesn't make any sense, face the back of your mat, standing forward fold. Yep. You got it. You're facing the back of your mat, standing up, forward fold. Good. Feet as wide as your mat. We'll get somewhere eventually. Right hand to outer left ankle, please. Left arm to the sky or left hand to your low back, your choice. Good. Spinal twist. Nice, you guys. And then release and switch. Left hand to your outer right ankle or shin, right arm to the sky. Good. Switch your hands, Mark. Good. And then release that hand back down to the floor, please. Deep breath in. Exhale. Bow a little deeper, bending the elbows, dropping the head. Good. And then you're going to continue, listen carefully, to walk to your left. As you walk your hands to your left, turn your toes, both feet to the left. Keep walking around like you're turning towards the front of your mat. As you turn, bring that right knee down to the floor. And as you keep walking, you're going to stack your left leg on top of your right. You're in Gomukhasana on the other side. And if that made no sense, face the top of your mat, cross your left leg on top of your right, knee over knee, or left shin in front of right if stacking the knees doesn't work. Good. Flex the feet. Walk your right arm out wide to the right. Left arm over the ear. Side body stretch. Good. Again, breathing deeper and deeper into the spaces between your ribs. Good. So bending that right elbow again so that you soften through the shoulder. You get more into the side body. Good. Come back up to center, please. Go the other way. Left arm reaches out and down. Right arm over the ear. Good. So walk your hand out far enough so that as you drop down, there's actually space to drop into. Again, this is part of our practice, is that you have to walk far enough away from what you know, what feels like it's comfortable and familiar and steady. You got to walk away from that in order to be able to drop into something. Good. So that's our internal practice of Pratyahara. I walk away from what I'm so familiar with, looking for my surroundings to ground me. And instead I look inward for what maybe is unfamiliar to feel steady. Come back up to center, please. Then either forward fold here if that's available, or keep your fingertips right at your hips or slightly behind so that you can keep the chest lifted, and just breathe again into the spine as the pelvis opens, as the hips open. Keep your feet flexed. Good. So if you are upright, you're not forward folding. That's great. Press down into your seat. Draw those thigh creases down. Yeah, so that it feels like you're elongating your lower back. Good. You can still feel like there's a little squeeze of the knees towards each other. Nice, you guys. If you're in the forward fold, one more breath, inhaling to lengthen your spine, drag back on your hands. And then as you exhale, round into your back even deeper. So pull the belly away and press down into your seat. Good. And then walk yourself back in, please. Nice job. Unwind the legs, roll forward onto hands and knees, and come into downward facing dog. Good. Step the right foot forward between the hands, lunge. Nice. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Take the hands to the inside of the front foot. Walk to your left just a little bit until you start to feel resistance. So you keep your right knee pointing straight ahead, your right butt cheek pulling back and in towards the midline, but you're walking your hands to the left. Good. So belly moves away from the thigh. Nice. And then again, an inhale to feel your chest lift, and an exhale, bend your elbows, drop yourself a little deeper. Good. So don't change the legs. The legs stay exactly as they are. But as you inhale, you feel the lift and rise of your chest. So lift your chest, get more open through your shoulder blades. And then exhale, bend your elbows and drop yourself deeper. Good. And then do it one more time. Inhaling, lifting just a little bit so you get broad through your upper back. Draw those shoulder blades down and in. And then exhale, bow a little deeper. Good. And then walk your hands towards the front of your mat, please. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Nice. I know the legs need to wake up. And then straighten the front thigh, please. Trikonasana. Reach the right rib cage forward for triangle. Extend. And then let that right hand come down to touch front leg floor. Block left arm to the sky. Good. Pressing into the right fingertips so that there's a feeling of pulling through the length of your arms, and at the same time extending out. So you're pulling the back of the shoulder blades towards each other, but extending out through the front of your chest. Nice, you guys. Good. And then bend that right knee again, please. Take the arms back up to warrior two. Beautiful. Drop the left hand down the back thigh, right palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Again, breathing into those spaces between your ribs, starting to feel this theme here, right? That there's the solidness of what you know, and then there's all the space that is interwoven between that, behind that, within that. And that's what we're looking for, Pratyahara. Be aware of the subtle energy that moves between what feels like it's solid. Come back to center, warrior two. Right forearm onto front thigh, left arm comes over the ear, side angle. Breathe into the left rib cage now. Good. Breathe into the left thigh, the back thigh. Breathe into the back of your rib cage, so the whole back side of the body here. Nice. And then come all the way back up to center, please, warrior two. Straighten the right thigh. Turn your right toes the same direction as your left. So you come to a wide-legged stance facing the side of your mat. Good. Reach behind you, hold opposite elbows, or interlace the fingers at your low spine. Deep breath in. As you exhale, bow forward. Good. Either letting the forearms rest at the low back if you're holding the elbows, or stretching the arms up and over any amount if you're holding your hands. Good. Squeeze the legs towards each other. Good. Scoop through the lowest part of your belly, push your butt up to the sky, and drop your head. Nice. And then hug your upper arms. And for a second, don't worry at all about how far your arms can come up over your head. It doesn't matter. Good. And then release the hands down to the floor. Nice, you guys. Right hand plants, left arm to the sky or to your low back, spinal twist. Pull the inner thighs wide. Good. Pull your low rib cage in and stack that left shoulder on top of the right. That's it. And then release and switch. Left hand down to the floor, right arm up. So if you think about this, that in your twist, what you're really trying to do is create that straight line from wrist to wrist. So how do you accomplish that, right? You got to lift open through your chest more. You've got to fall back towards that left arm more. And then you got to pull your inner thighs wide. Nice. Good, Laura. Nice, Susan. Both Susans. And then release the hand down to the floor. Good, you guys. Walk back towards the top of your mat. Turn the right toes forward. Spin the left heel up. And then step your right leg up and back. Down dog split. Good. Bend the knee. Kick your heel in towards your butt. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Open. Beautiful. And then point the knee down towards the floor. Bring that knee forward towards your nose. Good. Armpits over your wrist. Squeeze in. Good. And then send it up and back behind you. Down dog split. Keep the leg lifted. Bend the knee. Heel in. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Open. Good. And then point the knee down towards the floor. Bring the knee forward towards your nose. Good. Pull forward, round in. So Heidi, armpits forward more. Bring it more into the plank position. Good. And then all the way up and back. One more time with the knee bent. Stack the right hip on top of the left. Finding your breath. Good. And then pointing the knee towards the floor. Release the right foot down. Downward facing dog. Good. Inhale the breath. Drop down to your knees. Exhale into child's pose. Knees go wide. Drop your hips to your heels. Contemplate the right side of your body versus the left side of your body. Right? Those moments where, again, there's no movement through the poses, there's no seeming movement, can you still feel that there's pulsation? Can you feel the subtle energy of how your breath is moving, how your blood is moving? This is Pratyahara at its most basic, is can you pay attention to inwardly what is happening while you're practicing? So it's not how does my pose look on the outside, it's how does it feel on the inside. It's not how long can I hold my breath or do this with my breath or that with my breath, but how does my breath help me feel alive? Where is the source of me? Because it's not in that thought or this thought or the other thought, because there's always something that is watching the thought. So I keep going beneath the surface, following that route all the way back to where I began. And there's something very comforting about that, to go into the dark knowing that you're going to find something that is hugging you. Find a source that is illuminating you, that you're not going into the dark just to be scared, just to discover what you don't know. It's not about what you don't know. It's about discovering what you are. Walk yourself back up, come back to hands and knees and press back downward facing dog. Good. Left foot steps forward between the hands, lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat so your legs are in warrior two. Both hands come to the inside of the front foot. Good. Keep your knee pointing straight ahead, left butt cheek pulling back and in so your hips are not swiveling out to the side. And then walk your torso towards the right just a little bit until you start to feel resistance. And resistance is when your knee wants to fall in towards the big toe, so you push it wide towards the baby toe. It's when your butt wants to pop out to the side, so you pull your left butt cheek back and in. Hips in line with your ankles. And then a deep breath in, you're lengthening, lifting wide through the chest and the upper back, and then exhaling, bending your elbows, dropping yourself deeper in. Good. And then you're inhaling again, lifting and widening through the chest and the shoulders, and exhaling, dropping yourself deeper in. Keep the legs steady. Good. And then one more time, lifting the chest, breathing wide through the front of the body, the back of the body, and then exhaling, dropping your shoulders deeper, letting your waist extend, letting your low back stretch. Good. And then walk yourself back towards the top of your mat. Nice job. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two, so you don't have to change the legs at all. You're just bringing the shoulders up over the hips. Good. Reset that front knee if you need to. If it started to fall in, reset it. Beautiful. And then as you start to straighten that leg for triangle, good. Don't let that knee fall in or out. Keep it pointing towards the second toe. And then extend through your left side body, reach out towards the front foot. And then let that left hand touch down, right arm to the sky. Trikonasana. Good. The length, the long edges of your body is triangle poses. You're looking for how long can my legs get? How long can my spine get? How long can my arms be? Good. And in order to feel that, to hold that, there has to be this contraction that as long as your legs and your arms are getting, you have to also pull them in towards the core, towards your pelvis, towards the back of your heart. So you hug in and then you expand out. Pulsation. Good. Bend the left knee again, please. Cartwheel the arms back up to warrior two. Good. Yeah, noticing how much momentum you had to use with your upper body to do that. Dropping the right hand down the back thigh, left palm spins up and back, reverse warrior. Good. Tom, just move that knee a little wider to the left. There you go. Good. You guys come back to center, warrior two. Left forearm onto the front thigh. Take the right arm over the ear for side angle. Good. So you're breathing through the right rib cage now. So just like in a side body stretch where you are really extending, you can feel the space expand between your ribs. So try and feel that here, even though it's not as a dramatic side body opening. Breathe into your side ribs. Good. Draw the top of your right thigh, that's your back thigh, back in space. So it's like you're pushing your butt back just a little bit. And then stack your right rib cage on top of your left, like you're turning. Good. Your left shoulder under. Beautiful. And then back to warrior two, please. Nice. Straighten the left leg. Turn your left toe same direction as your right. So you come to wide legs facing the side of your mat. Good. Reach back behind you again, holding opposite elbows, other arm on top if you'd like, or interlace the fingers at the low spine, or go for reverse prayer here if that's an option for you. Again, it's still early. Shoulders might not be happy with that, but whatever works for you. Deep breath in, exhale, bow forward. Again, letting the forearms fall towards the lower spine if you are holding opposite forearms. Good. Stretching the arms up and over any amount if you are holding your hands, hugging the space of your upper arms. Good. And finding the length of your spine. Squeeze your feet towards each other, squeeze your shins towards each other. And then feel the breath in the back of your heart, the place that is restricted, especially if you are squeezing the upper arms. Breathe into that same space that you are squeezing. Expansion and contraction at the same time. Good. Release the hands down to the floor. Nice job. Right hand reaches for left ankle or shin, or you can keep the right hand on the floor wherever it is comfortable, left arm to the sky. So again, how deep you go, how quickly you go in, how far you push is completely up to you, because Pratyahara is not so much about a pushing, it's about a falling into what's already there, right? Good. Release and switch, come back to center. Pause in the middle for a moment so you're not just running from one side to the other. And then left hand to outer right ankle or shin. Right arm comes to the sky or to your lower back. Widening the thighs, drawing the back of your shoulders towards the left side of your mat. So you're actually drawing yourself away from that leg even as your left arm pulls you in towards it. Good. And then release back down, come back to center. Nice. Walk your hands straight ahead. So you're coming into a nice wide-legged downward facing dog if that is possible. Nice. The sensation of falling into darkness, just like as you are falling into sleep. That kind of comfort of knowing that there's going to be rest, or that there's a place of safety. There's a place of relaxation that you are moving towards. Not the awareness of, but what am I going to find? What if it's not what I think it should be? Just the mind. That's why we turn to the senses and say, instead of outward, go inward, because that can bypass some of that thought process. Come back to center, please. Walk your hands back in. Walk back towards the top of your mat. Turn your left toes forward. Spin your right heel up. And then take that left leg up and back to down dog split. The leg lifted up behind you. Bend the knee. Take your heel in towards your butt. Stack the left hip on top of the right. Good. Keeping your right heel hugging in, so you're still staying supported with that leg. Point the left knee at the floor. Bring it forward towards your nose, armpits over your wrists. So you're coming into like a one-legged plank. Good. And then send that leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Good. Leg is lifted, bend the knee, heel in, stack the left hip on top of the right. Open. Nice, Lisa. Good. Point the knee down towards the floor. Bring it forward towards your nose, armpits over your wrist. Hug in. Good. And then send it up and back behind you, down dog split. With the leg lifted, knee bent, stack the left hip on top of the right. Open. Good. Keeping your right top of your thigh, pulling back and wide. So you're not letting your hips swivel all the way open. Good. And then point that left knee down to the floor. Release the left foot alongside the right, downward facing dog. Deep breath in, and then drop to your knees, child's pose. Go inward. Sensation of falling into the layers of you. The metaphor I've been using is that, when you're very comfortable in your home to the point that you can navigate in the dark, so the lights are out, but you're able to go from your bedroom to the bathroom to the kitchen and all the way back. And you don't have to turn on the lights because you know where the furniture is. You know how many steps it takes. You know where all of your piles of clutter are so that there's no worry about stubbing your toes. This is the same experience we're looking for inside of us, is to be able to navigate so clearly. There's no fear of what we're going to find inside. There's just awareness. And it's perfectly okay that there are piles of clutter. It's perfectly okay that there are sharp edges and doorways and whatever else there happens to be in your landscape. So Pratyahara is not looking for a perfect place inside. It's looking at what is inside and knowing that it's perfect. This is finding the source of you, the inner world of you. So can you feel the subtleness of the movement of your breath? The subtleness of the mind and the part of you that is watching the mind. Good. Still in child's pose, take your hands back behind you, interlace your fingers at your low spine, forehead to the floor or on a block if you need it to be there. Easier with forehead on the floor. Good. Hug those upper arms towards each other. Roll up towards the crown of your head, lifting your hips, stretch the arms up and over any amount. Again, finding that place where you are hugging the upper arms and the space behind your heart, and then also breathing as deeply into that space as you can. Good. And then release the hips back down, release the arms back down, come back up to hands and knees, downward facing dog. Nice. Right leg comes up and back, down dog split. Good. And then step that foot forward between the hands, lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels the back of your mat. Good. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Nice. Right forearm onto right thigh, left arm over the ears, side angle. Again, breathing into your left side ribs. So push up into your left side ribs a little bit more. So you're actually moving your right rib cage away from your thigh. Good. And then left hand comes to your left hip. Please take your gaze down and forward. You're moving into Ardha Chandrasana, half moon. So if you need a block, grab a block. But I want you to really do it without having your hand on the floor first. Right? So I want you to actually step off of that back leg, float in the air for just a moment, and then let that hand touch down as you lift that left leg up. So there's a fluidness. Good. And then the left arm, once you found your balance, can come to the sky if you'd like, or keep it at your hip. Good. The point of Pratyahara, again, that moving inward to find the source of you, where do you begin? Is for you to realize that in order for you to find your beginning, it means that you have to step into the infiniteness. So there's that moment of hanging in space and saying, I have no idea what's meant to anchor me. What's meant to anchor you is your awareness of you. This present moment is what anchors you, nothing else. Good. If you can, right where you are, play with maybe bringing the hands, that right hand up off the floor, hover. Maybe even bringing your hands to your heart center if that feels possible. Good. Nice, Susan. Good, Lynn. Lynn V. Nice, Mark. Falling is okay. And then release all the way back. Good. Step back to lunge, hands to the floor, downward facing dog. Good. Vinyasa if you'd like, or hang out in dog, or come back to child's pose. If you're doing the vinyasa, you're sliding forward to plank, lowering down to your belly, rising up cobra or upward facing dog if that's where you're at, and then downward facing dog. Good. Left leg comes up and nice, Tom. Left leg comes up and back down, dog split. Step the left foot between the hands, lunge. Drop the back heel, baby toe parallels back of your mat. Cartwheel the arms up to warrior two. Good. Left forearm comes onto left thigh, right arm comes over the ear, side angle. Again, finding the length of your ribs. All right, full Sanskrit for this pose is extended side angle. So you are meant to be finding the longest edges of you possible, not just on the right side, but on the left side. So move from the front of your body to the back of your body and get longer. Good. Nice. You got it, Ken. That's nice. Good. Right hand to your right hip. Take your gaze down towards the floor. Again, you're reaching for a half moon, but I want you to try to have that moment where you hover. So you push off of the back leg, and as you're reaching for the floor, your right leg is already lifting. Good. Nice. Of course, exceptions can be made if necessary. But I want you to try and find the place that holds you as you are transitioning from one place to another. And right arm comes to the sky when you've got it. Because this is it, right? Finding that inner source of illumination is so that you no longer worry about darkness or light. Because you're always illuminated. You're always aware, awake. So play with maybe here drawing in towards the center, legs draw in, arms draw in, so that you can hover that left hand up off the floor and still hold your balance. You've got to draw everything in, but at the same time, extend out. Really awesome, Alice. Nice, Sue. Good. Good, Lynn and Tom. Awesome. And then release the hand back down. Good, Lisa. Good, Diane. Step it all the way back. Beautiful falling out of your poses, you guys. Downward facing dog. Even the falling becomes not a problem. Deep breath in, and then drop your knees to the floor, please. Good, bring your hands up to your hips, come up to a high kneeling position. Camel pose, so use a block between the thighs if you'd like. Good, hands can be at the low back here or behind the head, your choice to begin. Good, so on a super long spine, again, pull up through your ribs. So it's like someone just hooks under your armpits and pulls. You can even imagine my hands cupping your ribs, the underside of your ribs right under your armpits and pulling up. So feel that. And I pull your front ribs back and in too, so you're not arching forward. Good, now hinge backwards against that. Nice, so the inner thighs draw back and then lift the top of your chest super, super high. Extend through your side ribs. And then let the hands drop back behind you, reach for your heels if you'd like, or keep your hands where they are. But your chest is still pulling up. So it's like you're suspended from your sternum up towards the ceiling. So even as you reach for your heels, you're pulling up towards the sky. You're not leaning down into the floor. You're pulling up. Side ribs up. Nice, long throat. Nice, Laura. Good, and then squeeze that block if you've got it. Hug the inner thighs, navel to spine, come all the way back up. Beautiful. Untuck the toes, drop your hips back to your heels, forehead to the floor. Reach back for the ankles or let the hands rest where they need to rest. You can make a pillow with your hands if that feels more accessible. Good. And then holding the ankles or the shins, roll up onto the crown of the head. Again, lifting the hips, rounding the back. Good. So we're expanding the body cavity, the front of the body, the back of the body, so that the inner world feels more spacious because the outer world no longer feels so restrictive. Good. Release the hips back down. Nice job. Come all the way up to sit on your butt. Bring your feet in front of you, bottoms of the feet together, knees wide. Good. Bring your right hand to your outer left knee. Left hand comes behind you. So spinal twist, right hand to left knee, left hand behind you. Good. Feeling both sit bones on the ground, pressing into the baby toe edges of your feet. Keep the right hand where it is, float the left arm up off of the floor, and then lean to your right. Good. And falling back into your back rib cage. So even though you're in the twist, can you soften your front ribs back? Like you're falling into something behind you. Nice. And then come all the way back to center, please. Unwind your twist. Pause for a moment in the middle, and then go the other way. Left hand to right knee, right hand behind you. Good. Keep your groins rooting down. So you're not leaning back onto the back of your sit bones. You're staying upright. And again, if you need a blanket underneath your seat to feel that, make sure you have a blanket. Keep your left hand where it is. Take your right arm up off the floor. Lean to your left. Good. As much as that right hand is holding the knee, draw the groins down. Let the knees stay wide. Good. Long elbow diane. So really reach out through your fingers. Good. Nice, Harriet. Good, Andy. Come all the way back up to center, please. Beautiful. And then reach for your ankles or your shins. Give a little pull upward. As you pull upward, draw those shoulders wide. So you're doing like almost a little pull-up type of action with your arms. So elbows bend, shoulders wide. Feel your chest. Good. Ribs back. Good. Now maintain that as you lean forward, bending the elbows a little deeper, come into your forward fold. The elbows are either going to rest on your inner knees or in front of your shins, depending on just body arrangement. Good. But I want your shoulders to stay nice and wide. And I want you to feel that you are still pulling those shins up so that there's almost like a little space underneath your ankles. Nice. Yeah, shoulders away from your ears, you guys. There you go. One more breath. And then walk yourself all the way back up. Nice, you guys. Good. Scoot yourself forward, please. Come onto your backs. Good. Right ankle comes on top of left thigh. Please lift your left shin parallel to the floor. Reach through to hold that thigh. Good. Flexing the feet. Again, looking for a subtle movement here. So as you exhale, can you draw the legs a little deeper in towards your belly? Keep the low back anchored. And as you inhale, press the thigh away. Good. And then as you exhale, you bring the thigh back in towards the belly, increasing that fold of the thigh creases. And then as you inhale, you push the thigh away. And this can be as subtle or as gross, as surface level as you'd like. So maybe it's very obvious, the movement of that knee in and out, and maybe it's barely noticeable at all. It's just you knowing. This is Pratyahara. This is you having your knowing. And what it looks like on the surface makes no difference. It's the inner awareness that's being cultivated. That's what it means to turn your senses inward. Not to push the outside world away, but to really feel your inner world to be the real world. Good. Release and switch the legs. Please take the left ankle on top of the right. And same thing. As you are exhaling, pull that thigh in a little deeper. And as you inhale, feel that pushing the thigh away. Again, maybe it's obvious externally, maybe it's very subtle. Exhaling, pulling the thigh in, deepening the stretch a little bit, and then pushing the thigh away and feeling that that also deepens your experience a different way. Expansion and contraction. And if you see them as opposing energies, as you get caught in one or the other, is do I want to be expanded or do I want to be contracted? The truth is that you are both all the time, so there's no choice to be made. The only realization is feeling expanded even as contraction is happening, and feeling secure in your expansion because contraction is happening. It's as though you are watching the Big Bang happening in its fullness and its reverse at the same time. Go back to your source. Where did you begin? And there's no fear because it's only going to take you to places that you've already been through, already been to. It's familiar furniture. You just forgot the way you organized it. Good. Release that stretch, please. Hug the knees in towards the chest. Bring your knees wide for happy baby. Reach for your ankles or your insteps or outsteps, baby toes or big toes. Good. Keeping the low back anchored to the floor. Good. Bend your elbows a little bit to the inside of your knees. So you're pushing your inner knees wide, and then squeeze your knees against your arms. Good. But keep your heels up. Nice. Beautiful. And then hug the knees back in towards the chest, please. Squeeze. And then release the feet down to the floor, hips width apart. Good. Set the arms for bridge. So you can either bend them into robot arms or keep the arms straight, your choice. Good. And we're going to move in and out of bridge a little bit. So if you prefer to do this as a restorative kind of position and put a block underneath your seat, you can do that. But plant the feet, set the arms, and then rise up into bridge. From the armpits, rise up. And then feel the breath filling your abdomen as the hips rise. And then exhale, release that, feeling the breath as it leaves. You allow the body to drop back down to the floor, but it's not really empty. It's just no longer in that same state of full. And then again, inhaling, filling the breath, filling the body with breath, rising from the armpits up into the pelvis. It's like you're a balloon inflating yourself. And then exhale, you soften that breath out and allow the body to relax back down. This is expansion and contraction. Good, but contracted is no longer there. It's simply different. Inhale, rise up again, moving with your breath. Instead of I push myself into the pose and happen to be breathing, rise up with your breath. And then exhale, relax with the leaving of your breath. So tuning into the subtle experience. Inhale, rise up with your breath into bridge. And exhale, float back down to the floor, out of bridge with your breath. Right, the subtle experience of expanding and contracting is it doesn't really matter how the body is moving. Keep going. It doesn't really matter how the body is moving. What matters is, are you aware of what it feels like to expand with your breath and to contract with your breath, to pulsate. So don't seek to move fast, just pay attention. And the next time you lift your hips up into bridge, stay there. Good. Dragging back on the heels, move your thighs towards the tips of your toes, and then take the right ankle on top of the left thigh. Good. Hips in line with each other. Nice. And then extend that right leg straight up towards the sky. Pull your hips higher because you extended the leg. Nice. So left foot is still on the floor, Ken, in bridge. Good. And then take that right ankle back onto the left thigh. Beautiful. And then lower your hips back down to the floor. Ankle still crossed. And then lift your left shin off of the floor, please. Hug that thigh or hold that thigh. And then drag the legs in deep. Lift your shoulders up off the floor. Squeeze in. Maybe reach further for your shin or your ankle if you'd like. Or just stay where you are. And then slowly release. Good. Place that left foot down to the floor, right foot down to the floor. And set your arms for bridge. Good. So again, inhaling yourself with your breath up into bridge. Lift the armpits, lift the chest, lift your hips. Good. And then right leg holds you, left leg to the sky. Oh, sorry, left ankle over right thigh. I'm sorry, left ankle over the thigh first. Good, you guys. Now extend the leg back up towards the sky. So again, you're lifting through the pelvis. So you feel an increase in how much you can expand into that position. And then as you drop the ankle back onto the thigh, keep your hips just as lifted so you don't lose anything. Good. And then release the hips back down to the floor. Left ankle is still stacked. Lift your right shin up off the floor, reach through to hold the leg, flexing the feet, and then drag the thigh in towards the belly. Drag the legs in and lift your shoulders up. Good. So you're squeezing into yourself. And again, if you want to reach forward towards your right shin or ankle, reaching for the foot, you can go for that. Nice, Harriet. Good, Sue. Good, Andy. Nice job, everybody. Good, Heidi. And then slowly release, unwind your legs, hug the knees in towards the chest. Good. And then spinal twist of your choice. You can keep the knees together and drop the knees to the right. You can extend one leg and bring the knee over top. You can wrap the thighs, drop the legs to the right. Good. You seek the inner source of your own illumination. You find the source of your everything. Come back to center, please. Take your spinal twist to the other side. You find the source of joy as well as the source of sorrow. The source of all experience is there, but it is undifferentiated, unconditioned. So in this present moment, that is where you exist in that unconditioned state, inwardly. That is always the truth. It's only on the outside that we begin to move in those very conditioned pattern, habitual ways. So you seek your source to come back to the knowledge that you are unconditioned in this moment, and this moment is all there is. Slowly unwind, come back to center, please. Good. Squeezing the knees in, bring your forehead up to meet your knees. And then release, stretching the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you, palms up, Shavasana. And I suggest that at least as you begin Shavasana, that you go back to looking for those subtle experiences. To feel the heaviness of the floor, the solidness of the floor. Again, tune into what you can hear and smell and taste and feel. And be aware of the experience of the perception of light, even though your eyes are closed. And in complement to that, the experience of the inner dark. Where now with your attention focused, that space becomes illuminated. Feel yourself as breath, as though the skin dissolves. You are hanging in space, held by that constant, consistent pulsation, expanding and contracting. Breathing around you and through you. gently bring the awareness back to your breath. The body begin to stretch and move in whatever ways serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. Taking a moment there before you begin to push the floor away, come back to an upright seated position. And bring the hands together in front of the heart center, rub your palms. Because it's cold. Rub your palms. Good, and then steady the hands at the heart. Again, a subtle way of feeling your own heat, your own energy, your own prana. You feel it flow. So the practice that we have of Pratyahara is that practice of saying, I welcome walking into the dark. I welcome walking into the places that are between what I know and that are unseen on the outside, because those are the places that I am most myself, where I'm never pretending to be someone else, where I'm never getting lost in a moment that is behind me or before me because I'm only ever right now. So as we approach the solstice, that moment where there is the longest dark of the year, the longest dark, the moment where there is the greatest contraction, you could say, you're going the deepest in. Welcome that. I welcome going back to the source of where I came from so that I can really remember what it is to just be myself and to know that whatever is there inside is already perfect. I'm not looking for anything else. So make that your journey the next couple of days. And even as you approach the solstice and go beyond the solstice, make that your journey every day, is to welcome walking into the dark. A place of safety, place of comfort, place where you are 100% really you. My wish for you, my dream for you. Close with the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week until I see you again. Heads up, coming up for the holiday week is there's one class on Christmas Eve. I believe Cheryl's teaching it, I think at 9:30. And then there are no classes on Christmas Day. So just so you are aware of that. And then the weekend following will be regular schedule. So